Well, it's a new day in the shop. It's Monday, and again, it is hot outside. So we're gonna hide in here. The plan was to get the long block put together yesterday, but I didn't have these guide pins. They were not with the motor, so I had to run out and get a set of those this morning. We got the short block all done and put together, ready to go. So today, we get the heads put on. So these are GT40 heads basically. This motor came out of an Explorer, so it's got the GT40 heads and the intake and all that good stuff. It does have the Anderson N412 cam in it, valve springs, stuff like that. So it's a good little combination, but nothing super special. And we're not building anything super special. So well, it's a new day in the shop. It's Tuesday. It's been probably about 2 weeks since last I touched this little project, but as you can see, we got the car back in here. We got that done over the weekend, so it's ready to go. We got the motors all set up here in the back of the truck, strapped down. It's pretty much ready to go. I hope it's ready to go. We're gonna find out. So this morning we're heading over to Iowa Speed and Supply over in Dubuque, outside Dubuque actually. And basically, Bob over there he's a Holley retailer, so he knows these Holley systems. So and he has an engine dyno. So the plan is he's just going to put on the dyno, probably run a quick like break-in or whatever, check things over, make sure things are good, and then he's just going to basically take our Terminator ECM, put it on his system, and then basically tune the motor and write the program, and hopefully everything goes smooth here. And by the end of the day, hopefully this thing's ready to go. Bring it back home, throw it in the car, and then we should be done. Just matter of put it in and wire it up, and should be ready to go. As far as dyno numbers, I'm not dynoing this to prove that it makes 900 horsepower, because it's not going to. That's not what I'm building here. This is just a 302. It's out of a 99 Explorer, so it's GT40 heads and intake. We got an Anderson cam in it, set of valve springs, 25-pound injectors. Other than that, nothing special about it. So, like I said, if it makes anywhere around 300, I'm more than happy. We're not building a race car out of this thing. But, anyways, so we're taking guesses. Let me know what your number is. I will get the numbers, and then I'll do like a short on it maybe after this video, and we'll see who's closer. I'm thinking like 320. That's my number. So, anyways, let's get on the road. Well, it's a new day. It's next day. Yesterday was dyno day, and happy to report that everything actually went well. We had a couple of hiccups. Number 7 spark plug wire literally went up in flames. Headers got a little warm during the break-in, and with these GT40 heads and the shorty headers, cylinder 7 spark plug wire is extremely close. So we put a shorty boot on it and put this insulator on it. I think I am just going to switch the plug wires out to probably some MSDs a little later, but that is not on my high priority list to do today. So the plan was yesterday to get home and basically throw it together and get it jammed in the car last night. But the bolts for the flywheel were still down at the dyno. And being the flywheel is pretty much the first thing that has to go on before it goes in the car. I mean, I could have did it underneath of the car, but I thought, whatever. I wrapped up some other things, EGR block off plate. I had to fix the dipstick because the dipstick doesn't work with these headers. It does now, but it didn't. And I don't know if I can put this in with the bell on it, with the bell housing, especially by myself. But I'm going to try it. It only takes 5 minutes to pull it back off. I want to say I can, but I can't remember. It's been a long time since and when we pulled the bell housing out, when we pulled the motor, I think, I don't remember. It was a while ago. I can't remember yesterday. Yeah, I did. We're at the dyno. Like I said, it ran great at the dyno yesterday. We did probably about 8 pulls on it. Nothing extreme. I mean, obviously we did one final pull on it, so I know what the numbers are. I have the sheets over here on the hood with the torque and the horse and all them good numbers. Oh, I hate this engine hoist. Actually, I don't hate it. It's just one-man operation. Kind of sucks. But I'm running out of time, so it is what it is. What's today? Wednesday. I'd like to have this on the road by Sunday for cars and coffee. And then next weekend is Fox Fest. So I kind of want to get it on the road and get some miles on it and see how it does. Should do good. It ran real good on the dyno. Didn't get crazy, nothing weird. Oil pressure was good, temp stayed good. He did a lot of the base tuning on it. You know, like setting the fuel curve and ignition and all that good stuff. We are going to have to do some drivability tuning on it yet, I'm sure, but it's not a crazy motor. There ain't nothing super fancy about this thing, so hopefully it'll just learn itself like it's supposed to. We're going to have to do some tuning on the IAC because his dyno, he did not have the adapter to tie in the IAC into his system. I guess he works on a lot of Chevys, I suppose you could say. So, but that's all stuff we can do in the handheld tuner. And that's even if the IAC works. We've got to check that. I've always had not really an idle issue with this motor, but a restart issue. You always had to give it just a little bit of throttle like a carburetor. And I don't want it to do that. So we're going to see what we can do. Slow and steady. A lot easier if you had somebody here to shove it around, you know? But for the most part, we're going to get it. It's just the way it works. I don't want to scratch the firewall though either. Put a lot of time into painting that engine compartment. Just a little bit at a time. Basically, I put the strap on the intake to pull it up to the radiator support because these motors always want to fall backwards because there's no transmission to hold it up yet. And obviously, I'm not going to try to wrestle the transmission by myself. Well, not yet anyways, maybe later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on all the front accessory drives and basically all the crap on top here. It's pretty straightforward. Just got to bolt everything back on. So I don't think I'm going to really record any of that. I'll let you know when we get that point accomplished, and we'll probably from there We'll get pushed back more into the prep station, square it up, basically just put up on jack stands, and then we'll go underneath. Tranny, exhaust, drive shaft, shifter, put the interior back together. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Just 10 minutes, right? Whatever. I'll be back. Well, it's been a few days. We ran into some issues, as always. Comes expected with this kind of crap, right? But let me show you where we're at, where we ended up, and explain to you what we're going to do. So, last video we were putting the front of the motor on and all that good stuff, which you can see it's all done. And then Connor came home from work. He had a couple hours, wasn't doing nothing, so we threw the transmission in, which ended up throwing the exhaust in, the drive shaft in, threw the seat back in, threw the hood back on. Slam dunk, everything fit in. Obviously we just tore it apart, so it's pretty straightforward, like I said. But the following day I went to start the car, and we're right back to the same old problem we had with the last motor. It will not start by itself. You have to start it like a carbureted car. You have to be in the car, you have to hold the throttle for about 5 seconds, and then the computer picks up, the Terminator picks up, and it runs. And that just was driving me crazy. So after about 7 hours of Googling and watching videos and researching the Terminator X kit for the Fox body chassis, blah, 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 I found out, well, I didn't find out, I had a suspicion that the IAC, the idle air control motor, that system evidently is not actually turned on in the Terminator for the Fox body on a 5-liter, on a Mustang engine basically. So the IAC is not doing anything, which will explain a lot of things, right? So the only problem with that is you cannot turn that on in the handheld controller. You have to turn that on through the laptop. And of course, I don't have the cord. Until now. This is what you need. They call it the dongle. And you have to have this to plug in your laptop to the Terminator to do pretty much any fine tuning. You can do rough setup through the handheld. That cable does not come with the Terminator. That's stupid in my opinion, but whatever. That's the way Holley does it. That's the way Holley does it. So 2 days later, I got that off Amazon, threw it in the car, plugged my laptop in, still can't communicate. It had wrong firmware in it. It was not set up for the version 3 software. Mine was set up for version 2. Again, Google, YouTube, videos, research. Finally figured out a way to update the firmware, because Holley doesn't make it simple. Basically, they don't want idiots like me being able to get in there and change stuff. So, hours and hours later, I got the firmware updated. That gave me the availability to go into the software, turn on the IAC control basically. I had to assign it to output 4. Again, all YouTube videos. Thanks to everybody out there teaching us this stuff. And at the end of the day, 3 days later, the stupid car started by itself and idled right out of the box. Yes, we did have it taken to the dyno. Yes, we had it tuned on the dyno. Problem was the Holley Terminator X for a Fox body comes with a 2-wire pre-wired for the IAC on a factory Ford. So that harness is distinct to the Fox body only. The dyno that I took it to has never done a Fox body before with the 2-wire, and his harness was set up for the 4-wire, which is the stock Terminator wiring. This harness is distinct to the Fox body. So basically he had no way to tie into the IAC. So all the tuning that he did was basically from 2000 RPM and up. Anything below, cold start, warm starts, idle, none of that. He couldn't control any of that because he basically couldn't plug into that IAC. We did not know that it was not turned on in the system regardless. He probably did. I did not. So, after we found that out, which I'm going to do a whole nother video on that whole deal, hopefully to save a guy like me the trouble next time. But anyways, the car is running, idling. And at this point, it's good enough to go to Cars and Coffee. It's not done yet. We still got some things to change before Fox Fest next week, but it's going to Cars and Coffee tomorrow, so it is what it is. Well, that's a wrap on this part of the video anyways. Part 1 and 2. Basically the first goal was to get to Cars and Coffee, which it's going. And then part 2 is going to be getting ready for Fox Fest next week. I know I have a list of stuff, plus I don't even know how the car is going to run. Basically it's the first run of the car. We're usually going to get about 30 miles on it. We'll put together a list of what don't work and get it back in here and get started on it. So anyways, thanks for watching guys, appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one.